Ah. Welcome to the show. My name is Alex.
And I'm Lizzie.
And today we are talking season 2, episode 4, This Way Gone. And this was a interesting episode, to say the least.
Yeah.
Some people I've been on the From Facebook groups, and some people, and it's a very small group, oh, this show is so slow and and I'm like, I don't know where they're talking.
Those people?
I don't know. I do not know. Before I forget to mention it, if you are liking this on YouTube, smash that like button. If you're listening to the podcast on normal way of listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review or give us some kind of review, and we'd love to get that so we can get our podcast a little bit higher. I just want to thank all the listeners. We have had such great responses.
It has been just absolutely lovely and generous. I'm overwhelmed. You and I started this. It was just you and me. And I swear to God, we were the only 2 people watching it.
Yeah, as well as the actors, I think. And some of them haven't watched it.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're going to be talking about a couple of things that we're going to be doing to get more people into the Fromly, as well as help the podcast as well. But that said, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this, which is This Way Gone. And what is your first thoughts on this episode?
I just have questions. I came up with questions that felt like from every direction, and we're getting deeper into what's going on with Tabitha and how that structure is playing into it with the little girls. And I hope I wrote this down, but I had this thought about those 2 little girls and what they represent. And like as always, just an incredible episode. And I'm excited to talk about it. What about you?
I love the fact that they finally are doing a little more backstory. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that we're getting some hints, but again, there's some great moments in this.
Yeah.
And there is some moments you're like, holy cow. And I just love the fact that that there's certain characters you can really rely on to bring it. And we're learning about the new characters a little bit more, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I just think that we got a good ride. I mean, we're just about halfway through this almost, and we're ready to go. So that said, which way are you wanting to go with the episode?
Well, I'm going to wipe off this sweat. My house just will not cool down. All right. I'm in Atlanta. I don't even know what it is outside, but it is like hot in this house. So if you see me wiping my face, that's what's going on. So, I mean, so much so I decided to opt for the tiara instead of like doing my hair. You know what? Normally I leave this kind of stuff to the end, but I am going to start with the Boyd and Kenny line of stuff. So,
okay. So yeah, no, that's fine. Go right ahead.
All right. So we've got beginning, middle, and end with Kenny, and it is the evolution of their relationship. And so we start with Kenny and his mom moving his dad into the hospital. And basically because, dad has got dementia, he doesn't exactly know everything that's going on. He's still very communicative and he knows what he wants. But in the middle of the night, he decides to open the door while the monsters are out there. And obviously, we could have lost Kenny and Mrs. Lou and his dad a lot sooner than planned. But, we find out, not that it was a giant question, because it was pretty easy to figure out why his dad, was in the hospital. But, we see that whole process and the father. And I remember going through this with my mom, like she could not come home. And I wanted to bring her home, but they were like, it is not safe for either one of you for you to care for her. And that still bothers me because I would have, and today's Mom's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all you moms of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever, how many legs your kids have. So at any rate, so we go through that process, and Kenny's really sad about it because he feels like he's abandoning his dad, and he goes out of the hospital and runs into Boyd, who found out that they had an issue during the night. And, Boyd, it just kind of reminded me of being in the classroom or being with some kids that need a little something. So Boyd gives him something else to worry about, something else to focus on. And he makes him the deputy.
Right.
He wants someone to watch his 6.
Right. Exactly. And I love that. That's kind of the theme throughout the whole show in terms of their relationship,
right?
Covering his 6. And I also love the fact that, Kenny had talked about why he wanted to open the door. And this gives you a little bit more of a insight on the monsters. The first scene, I'm your grandmother. I'm your brothers.
Yeah.
So yes,
I'm the cute guy, Julie. Come on.
Right. And it's like they prey on weakness and they know it. It's like they can get into somebody's mind. Yeah. And that's really a vital piece of information that I think I don't really hear people saying, or it's so obvious that it's not that, nobody really talks about it. Also, I love the fact that Mrs. Lou, I mean, she's crushed, obviously.
Oh, yeah, she's absolutely crushed. I mean, it is so difficult, and I don't know if you've experienced this at all, Alex, but it's very difficult to watch someone who was very active in life, or at least intellectually engaged, and all of a sudden they, have problems remembering things. My mother would come to my house screaming that I took her brand new box of Saran wrap.
Right. And that's a hard way to live. And you can't really fight with somebody in that state. At the same time, you still want to keep yourself safe. And the best way to do that in this world is to lock him up in the school. And
not lock him up, but put him someplace safe, because he's not in jail.
Well, lock him up in a sense where he can't get out.
Yeah, no, I know. It just sounded a little like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So then it pops forward from Kenny being the deputy to running down the street, running for Boyd, so that he brings, because he's found Sara, as we know in the previous episode, he's found Sara in the basement. So he runs and gets Boyd and brings Boyd back to the house. And, he's talking to Kenny and trying to explain. Now, Kenny doesn't know at this point
what's going on.
Well, how his father died. But they're in the chapel, and I'm looking around at the furnishings. So the pulpit is a mailbox, which I was like, that's pretty cool. Why not? Then when you're done, you just pull the drawer down and put your sermon in there, and just falls into place. It's all like stored for you in order. And then, they've got some bus seats from like school bus seats in there, and folding chairs and all sorts of things. And they have so many chairs in there. It makes me wonder how many people have been in that town at any given time that all those chairs would be filled.
Absolutely.
But and he tells Kenny that Sara is uniquely connected to this place.
Right.
That she hears voices.
Right.
I don't think that Boyd knows that she's got the arm squirms or not. But I mean, we know that Boyd does. That Sara hears voices, but we don't know if those voices are good or bad. You know,
there is something that scene, there is something about that scene that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Okay, so Boyd is talking to Kenny, and he's talking about, you know, the murders, and he says plural.
Yeah. Like he slipped
and I'm going to tell you right now, that is, I call bullshit on that, because no, meaning this. So much is going on, and the fact that Kenny picks up on that really pisses me off, because in the sense of this, I understand if it makes the episode better, but to make a slip like that is no big deal. I mean, with everything that's going on, like it's as big of a deal as it is.
Yeah, but you know, I think Kenny, he's looking for as much evidence as he can.
No, and I understand,
but I mean, I understand it, and Kenny is gathering information anyway. Like, if he said murders, is there something that Boyd isn't telling him?
And he's already suspecting it, and again, I get that.
I don't think he's suspecting it at that point. He's just like, why, you know, we can't keep this girl. Like, we can't keep her. She can't just walk around town. Let's see. And Kenny is right away like, she's going in the box, no hesitancy. Like, he doesn't even know that, you know, she's responsible for his father's death. And then they start fighting about it, and Boyd becomes more animated, and he ends up like feeling weird and starts to walk away from Kenny, and then collapses outside.
Right.
You know, outside of the church.
But he does talk to Sara. And one of the things that I think was kind of interesting is he wanted to talk to her alone. And not that that's a big shocking thing, but the fact that, you know what, even though you're my deputy, I still need to talk to her by myself. But
in the thing, it didn't seem suspicious to me, because well, wait a minute. Kenny didn't know. Well, no, I think he knew at that point that she was out in the woods with Boyd, that she had gone on this trip with Boyd.
No, not yet.
Didn't he just tell her? I mean, just tell Kenny? Okay.
No.
So
the first conversation, he kind of just glossed over everything.
Okay. So, but my theory that they were telling her to put him in that tree is partially right, but it's not the right them. You know, the boy in white told her to get, you know, for the both of them to get in that tree. And, you know, Boyd went where he went, and she went to the basement.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't see her.
Like I said, I mean, I think, you know, there could be the theory that she knew that he was going there and she was going to go somewhere else. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it. So,
yeah. So Ethan, she says that Ethan was right, that they made this place angry. And as soon as Jim makes contact on the radio, that storm comes in. And, you know, a big storm like that comes across as being angry, you know?
Right.
And she knew, because of the boy in white, that they'd be safe in the tree. Although it doesn't seem like Boyd was very safe. You know, his life has just been altered yet again. Right. And she says, and this is interesting, the boy in white is not one of the voices that she hears, and that he wants to help out but doesn't know how. And so, you know, if we go to what Victor said he said it last season and he said it again this season. The boy in white was gone for a long time, and all of a sudden he's shown up again. So what triggers that, you know?
It has to be the fact that there's more people digging around, snooping around. Because when Victor was going by himself around there, he wasn't trying to find a way out.
You know, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know if I can buy that totally. Like, the people in Colony House seem pretty content. Although, you know, Fatima said that they have discussed it and discussed it and discussed it. And I'm sure in a communal space like that, they probably do sit around and talk about, you know, what they think is going on.
Look at Dale, Liz Saunders' husband.
Oh.
I mean, he's like, oh, it was the fifth dimension. It's this, it's that.
Yeah.
I mean, so they are constantly thinking about it. I mean, that's the thing. And you know,
how could you not? Like, I mean,
you're just sitting around there doing nothing anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a union problem that sometimes I just have to put it aside. It just overwhelms me.
Right.
So, you know, he wants to help, but he doesn't know how. And he's trapped the same way. And I'm like, why would she say this? Why would, I don't know. Like, that was one of my questions. Like, why would, I don't know. It was interesting just to get that little tidbit about the boy in white.
Yeah, it is. Because we thought one thing, and now we're starting to find other things about him.
I mean, white, you know, if you go into symbolism, the color white is innocence, purity, that sort of thing, where the color black is just something that's malignant and evil or whatever, right? You know, if you're looking at literature. So we've got this a little boy, you know, being innocent, and then he's wearing white. You know, he kind of looks like a good guy, but we don't know. We haven't known all along. I mean, he shows up to Victor the day that everyone in the town got slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then he starts showing up again, and Ethan starts seeing him. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, my thought that Ethan is the wizard and he's seeing the boy in white, does that mean that Victor is also a wizard? You know, I don't know, but it just, I could see how over the years, Victor just kind of got lost and disconnected from that place and just did his own thing and had his own experiences.
Well, I mean, look at his whole mindset.
Yeah.
You know, the way he thinks is on Ethan's level.
Yeah, like,
or lower.
Even when Jade shows up, when Ethan shows up and he's talking to him, it's like two little boys that are talking. I mean, Scott McCord does a great job of doing that. Right. You know, it's like two little boys. You know, I'm mad at you. I don't want to talk to you right now.
Well, you can come in as long as you don't, you know, steal anything else.
Yeah, yeah. But even the way his voice sounds, you know, sounds like a little kid. And
after talking to him in real life, it's like, holy cow, he really is acting.
Yeah, he's not a little kid. You know, he comes across as a mature man. So let's see. In the last thing before we leave Sara, just that she knows that she should be going in the box, and she seems resigned to that fate. And I think she just wants to be
out.
She wants out. She wants to be done with what's going on, you know, because I don't think she's, I mean,
she has the same mindset as Frank did.
Yeah.
It's time. Yeah. I've done everything I can do. I don't want to be here anymore. Nobody wants me here anymore.
I've done too much. Like, I can't live with what I've done.
And I think, unfortunately, you know, what she did to Kenny, I understand.
It is unforgivable.
I mean, no, what she told was not that it wasn't her secret to tell, but it served no purpose
to tell him
other than
she was unburdening herself, and that's
exactly it was her
selfish.
burdening. I mean, it was her way of getting herself into the box.
Yeah, I'm sure. But what was it? Boyd could also say, look, this is what she did. She's going in the box. If Boyd said that from the get-go and told Kenny versus Sara telling Kenny, and Sara should not have told Kenny.
I mean, she's a jerk.
She is a jerk.
I mean, she's been a jerk this whole time. And
I don't think, but the thing is, like, before I don't know, before the whole Ethan/Nathan thing, right? She was trying her best to be a good person, but she was fighting against these voices. So she was struggling with that.
Let's just put it this way. There is another backstory, how she got the squirrely things in her. This whole thing, I mean, when we interviewed her, and that's up on the thing, on the YouTube and podcast, you know, she said she's a very vulnerable person. She's a very trusting person. And I think that, yes, that's true. And maybe she does have a redemption story. Maybe there's a bigger issue, like a Snape that, you know, bad for good reason. And, you know, we just don't know that yet.
Right. But telling Kenny was selfish.
It was
incredibly selfish. And that, you know, that was just to get herself in the box. And Kenny, this was the thing. Kenny goes and he's looking at the spot where his father's body was found, and he was being kept in the basement of the hospital so that they could lock him in. So there would be another door in between him and the outside. And because Sara left the door open, those monsters just walked in through the door and gutted everyone in there, because there was like a nursing aide that was also.
Well, there was also the other guy. It was Jade's buddy.
She killed Jade. She killed him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She already killed him. Yeah.
Yeah, she had already killed him.
Sorry, it was episode 1 or 2. So give me a break, folks.
2. Yeah, I mean, things got going, kicking pretty quickly in the show. But anyway, so the thing that Kenny says to Boyd is that, you know, before we came here, my mother, you know, might get frustrated, but she never cried.
Right.
Since my father has died, she cries every single night. And it's all due to guilt. And the thing is, it would have been both the mother and the father, because, you know, maybe she would have checked the door, you know, like I walk around checking my doors all the time. But
what's really kind of interesting is then you fast forward or rewind back to the scene with Jade and Mrs. Lou.
Yeah.
And it makes it's like another layer of awesomeness that was already awesome sauce. It was like another awesome sauce and a perfect meal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crushing. And
and just that.
One other side note.
Yeah.
Could they have made Kenny any younger? Like, he did look younger.
Didn't he look younger?
He looked younger.
Oh my gosh. I was like, all right, so somehow they aged him back to 12.
I mean, he's 14 as it is. I mean, the look of 14. And
I mean, he's a young, youthful gentleman. And yeah, they did make him look younger. We don't know how long they've been there, but they did make him look younger. But, you know, yeah, that's a good. I meant to say that. So we're on the same wavelength.
But I do want to go to that scene between Boyd and Kenny again. And I posted on the YouTube that, you know, the last thing that he says is watch your own six. And I think that's like a huge dagger to Boyd, because he's a military guy. And, you know, anybody that's a policeman, anybody that's in any type of law enforcement, as an EMT, it's a term we all use, cover your six. And and I think that it's really going to change the dynamic. What is Kenny going to do? As well as what is Boyd going to do?
Well, I feel like Boyd has bigger fish to fry. But given what's going on with him, but I mean, I think right now, kind of pause that and go over to the Father Khatri.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, no, I think that's what we need to do, because that's one thing that Father Khatri in this has.
I loved seeing him come back. I really loved that.
I love to see how, and I want to go back to watch the first couple of episodes again, just to see him, because he's a Catholic priest. He's trying to do the best he can. We all have our skeletons in our closet, and the fact is that was Boyd's interpretation of Father Khatri.
Right. He wasn't actually there. He was imagining it, and Father Khatri was serving as his conscience.
Exactly. And I'm hoping, because we talked to Sean recently, which will be coming up soon on the podcast. I hope he does have that recurring role, because I think that it would be great to have him come in, because he came guns blazing.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so perfect, because, I don't know, they're kind of opposites in a way, Father Khatri,
basically, I told him, shit or get off the pot. You can't tell Kenny, because it's not going to do any good.
No. Like, well, wait a minute. Let me read through. Like, he examines him, but won't tell her about. Oh, wait a minute. That's Christy.
Yeah.
All right. So he's sitting there with the chessboard, which is, what are you going to do? And even when he walks up to Boyd, he's got one of the chess pieces in his hand.
Wait. Let me just stop right there for 1 second.
Yeah.
Now, that's on a lot of levels. One, we're talking about Kenny. Kenny and his dad was all about chess. Right. Kenny said something to Boyd that was really important to the whole entire story about chess with these monsters. I just want to bring it up because I think it's important to this conversation. The monsters wait for you to put yourself into a corner.
Right.
And that's what Boyd has done. Now, I have to go back, and I'm being a bad podcaster, and maybe you saw which piece he actually picked up.
Oh, I don't know my chessboard pieces, so I couldn't tell you.
I have to go back. It looked like the knight, but if it was a horse, I'd look like the horse. But I have to go back and I know the listeners will tell us.
Yeah, I don't know my chess pieces at all, so I'm no help. But
it could just be the pawn, just because that's easy.
Yeah. Well, can any piece be the decision for checkmate?
Well, it's the queen.
So the queen has to take out the king?
No, it's all about the queen.
Oh, it's all about the queen. Yeah, see, that shows you how much I know. All right, so he's trying to decide whether or not he should tell Kenny. He wanted him to lie about See, the thing that I'm getting is that Boyd, in the end, wanted to rationalize not telling Kenny.
Right.
I think he thought, all right, if it was two friends, like sometimes you just have to fess up and say, look, I did this awful thing, or I know this awful piece of information or whatever. And you just have to fess up and just say, this is it, and take your lumps. But Boyd is on that chessboard trying to manage everything that goes on in that little town in order to keep everyone safe. And what he comes down to is broken people don't make it in this town. That's it. That's the end of them. And if he tells Kenny that Sara killed his dad, then Kenny will be broken. But the fact that Boyd lied to him breaks Kenny, because Kenny's like, take this, watch your own six, I'm outie.
Right. I mean,
so Kenny got broken anyway. His mom is already broken. So that,
well, the only thing of stability that Kenny had was Boyd, and that was taken away from him with that conversation.
Yeah, and, like with the lie.
That's what I mean. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and the town, the characters as a whole are all on edge.
Right.
So everybody is. It's not taking much to make things crumble.
Oh no, like it's just, you're at the end of the Jenga game here.
But I mean, as important and serious as that conversation was, to me, I found it funny as hell. Just because
Boyd is entertaining. It's entertaining.
Boyd's like, I got squiggles in my arms. I went through a tree. Yeah. I did this. I did that. Yeah, I want. I mean, and I got to tell you, Boyd / Harold knows how to drop an F-bomb at the right time. It's always at the right time. It's never not. It's never out of like,
just, casual conversation.
He just knows how to drop an F-bomb.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I do want to go back. I mean, are we done? Are we done with Kenny?
Well, I just wanted to ask you.
Yes.
Do you think the lie was worth it? Do you think Boyd should have lied, or do you think he should have told him?
I think he should have lied, but the fact that it was taken away from him, I mean, the question is, is he that much of a salesman that he could have sold it on Kenny? And I don't think he could have right now.
I wonder, because
he didn't need to know.
I don't know. I given that he's the deputy, given that when you're dealing with younger people, sometimes it's that ideal of, this is how
this is the problem with Kenny.
Live up to this.
Kenny is a person that follows the rules.
No, he looks for guidance.
But but he follows the rules. Meaning this. You murder somebody, you go in the box. That's the rule. Okay? And there's no exceptions. He says, if it was Ellis, you would have wanted the person to be in the box.
Right.
And that's just the way he is. When he was with the townspeople, and when the bus came, okay, everybody, let's go get some tea. We have a procedure. He's very structured. Yes, he looks for guidance, but I think he's also that guy that follows the rules because he has to believe in them, because that's the only thing that he has right now.
Well, that and his position in the town as being the deputy.
I think they go hand in hand because of the fact he's taking care of his mom, he's taking care of his dad, he's responsible. That's why he's the deputy. He was the right person before he became the deputy, because he's the type of guy, the upstanding guy, the law-abiding citizen guy. Boyd doesn't have to think about trying to, he's going to go crazy. He's going to ask before he does anything. And that's what Boyd needs. And then you fast forward to this conversation when he finds out everything that he knows is a lie, he loses his shit. That's why he protected him. Because I don't think Boyd thought that he could handle the reality of the situation.
I think Boyd was being selfish.
Okay.
But no, listen, but selfish for the town and trying to
he was
for himself, but selfish for the town. And the thing was, I think he would have gotten the same the same thing from Kenny, in that Kenny would be like, she needs to go in the box.
Right.
But if he had gone to Kenny and said, look, this is what she can do, and we need to explore this. If it doesn't work out, or when we get back.
Yeah, if he had done that, we would have been fine. He would have been fine. If he says, she's going in the box, but we need to find out what she can help us do, you know, that's a different conversation with Kenny. And you make a great point there.
So we can move on from Boyd. I just want to talk about Boyd being examined by Christy, because
this is great. I love this.
This is important. So she examines him, but he won't tell her about the arm cut, you know, because she's looking at the spider bites and she's like, oh, they look good. But she sees the cut on the arm and he won't talk about it. So then, you know, she asks him if he's depressed, and he's like, everybody in this town is
depressed. That was funny. He started cracking up.
But it wasn't until they were talking about stress. Right. And he was like, that's when he starts to lose it. And the thing is, like, he looks a little bit unhinged, but before it goes from the depressed comment to her telling him that it's too early for cognitive impairment due to his Parkinson's, because he's having all these visions that don't make sense. And he's experiencing all these things that don't make sense. For all we know, the arm squirms aren't real. He's just seeing that because he's got a screw loose. But when she says to him that it's too early, you know, for you to start experiencing cognitive impairment, and that it doesn't always go hand in hand with Parkinson's, he's like, crap. Something else is going on. And then she mentions the stress thing, and he looks unhinged when she says that. So
because he has all this medical background, as she likes to say.
Yeah But you know, I do the same thing when I go in. I'm like, you know, I was a bio major, like biomed, so I'm practically a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So where do you want me to go next? I can't wait.
I am going to Julie. And Julie has 3 conversations with different people. And you know what?
Before that,
we're
going to start with, let's just talk about Mrs. Lou's house first, because it had to have been the greatest scene in the whole show, without a doubt, hands down.
Jade coming through the door
and saying,
the 3 smelly hippies.
Wait, more importantly, and I believe I actually have the quote here. Yeah. If you want to just wait, I don't think. You had a house and you broke it.
Yeah.
That's not my fault.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's got to go somewhere.
But no, I mean, she has a conversation with her mom, Tabitha.
Yeah.
And
so she gets Tabitha to admit that she's seen the girls again. And Tabitha has been thinking about the girls and then tells her about the girls. And she's saying she's not fine. She's not okay. Tabitha is definitely having some issues. And, you know,
I have to go on one side note.
Yeah.
Julie does ask her if she wants to make tea. Now, I only bring this up for 2 reasons. One, you always want a hot beverage.
Yes.
And 2, this goes along the most craziest theories of theories, which Mrs. Lou is behind everything.
I wish I took a screenshot of that post. I have to go find it.
It's the greatest post. I don't know who posted it, but it was so funny.
It was the best post ever.
I'm
gonna find it. Since I ain't got no job, I got plenty of time. I'm gonna go find it, and I will share that. Because
and folks, it's a From group on Facebook. It's a spoiler.
Which one is it? There's 2.
the main fun,
the one with
main,
Muhammad.
yes, with Muhammad.
Okay,
And
I'll go look for that one.
And on it is actually, I believe, our part of our logo, which is Boyd's arm. And it's a great group. And folks, it's a very active group. And if you're not in it and you like this show, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not in it.
Yeah.
But that said, it was so funny because it just came out of left field.
And it's genius.
But the thing is, since the season started, they've talked. It's almost like a drinking game. How many times people talk about tea right now?
Yeah.
They literally have more tea than in China.
Yeah. Yeah, which really makes you wonder what's the deal. All right. So then she goes up to Colony House with Ethan. She has a quick conversation with Fatima, who's trying to get back to normal.
And then she tells her.
And then Fatima asks her to be a bridesmaid.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's what girls do.
Well, no, I just thought it was neat. And Fatima is not happy about this.
Regular life stuff,
She's not happy about it.
Who's not happy about it?
I don't think Fatima's happy about getting married in the sense of not getting married, but getting married in this world.
Well, I mean, it's not the perfect thing. I mean, they can always go home and have another wedding, but it is.
She says, Ellis just proposed. He wants to get married here. And
the thing is, they don't know from one day to the next. So
I understand. I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah.
And Julie could not have been any happier because she's involved something that is other than monsters.
Well, it's not just that. It's a wedding, and a lot of girls really like weddings.
I'm saying it's an event.
Yeah, and until you get in the thick of it, and you're like, man, this really sucks. I don't like being a bridesmaid. No.
Well, maybe they'll have another episode 6 when they have the bachelorette party and the monster.
Oh my God, what would they do?
Then she ends up visiting Elgin.
Yeah, because she wants to be that ear, So the thing was, I got him checking her out. And
I got them both checking each other out.
Yeah, I did kind of get that, but then I'm going to flip over to Ethan because this is up at Colony House, and Ethan goes to see Victor to apologize, and Victor is pissed, and he's sitting there and he's drawing things that he saw while he was with Tabitha.
And I wish we could have saw that because I tried to get a picture of it, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but he was hard at work with it. And then, he's talking about being out there with Ethan's mom, and he said, "You've got a good mom. You're lucky." And the thing that gets me is that I kind of thought that, well, I mean, he loves his mom. Victor loved his mom, and you can tell by the way he has talked about her. But that comment made me wonder about their relationship.
Who knows? I mean, we just have to wait and see. I felt the same way. No, I mean, I felt the same way. It's like we just got to wait and see how it's going to play out because, they could have had a loving relationship and she got the crap beat out of her by her husband. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but that doesn't mean she wouldn't be nice. I mean, I did not have a nice mom. So when I meet other people that, their moms are nice, I'm like, you have a nice mom, you're lucky, that's what I'll say. But that's what it said to me. You're lucky to have a mom like that. So then he ends up, I think he just gets, even though he let Ethan into the room, I think he gets a little bit pissy about Ethan being there because he's still kind of mad. And so he tells Ethan that he's really busy and that Ethan needs to go. And then Ethan gives him a sack full of markers that he found in the storage unit. And I was like, that's really nice and that's really thoughtful. But in the scheme of things, markers suck. I mean, yeah, kids love markers, but they don't last. Even the smelly ones run out of the smell, and then they dry out because out of age, or you forget to put the cap on and it's over. Like, your life is over when a marker ends. A crayon lasts so much longer.
So they're in a huff.
Yeah. So Ethan, apologizes and leaves. So that's the end of that. Then we have, I'm going over to Tabitha, and eventually I'm going to go to Jim. So Tabitha is looking for Jim and goes into a little hospital and encounters Marielle. Where's my hand? Taking inventory. And I want you to remember this, taking inventory of the medications. So that I'm like, I was like, what a throwaway scene. So Tabitha is looking for Jim. So she finds Jim, who is outside the diner, but looking at their house. And they are talking, like, they're, he's kind of watching the bus stuff. He's kind of talking. And the thing that I've been waiting for is, like, I really, really want them to have this conversation. Like, I want to sit there with the two of them, like I'm a fly on the wall, just watching them talk about everything. That's what I want. So I can't remember what starts the conversation. Do you remember?
I'm sorry, with who again?
With Jim
and Tabitha.
And Tabitha.
So she comes over.
Yeah.
And they start talking because she was looking for him.
She was looking for him. Yeah.
Because Marielle told her that he left, and then they were looking at the quote unquote vultures.
Yeah.
Picking at the stuff.
Randall was calling them vultures.
I'm just using that as the metaphorical scene.
Yeah.
And then they're just trying to, compare notes. And then Jim says to her, I heard a voice that means something. And,
Oh, yeah. He tells her, I mean, I have stuff. I don't know why I didn't do that. But he tells her about the voice that he heard on the radio. And she says, did anyone else hear the voice?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And he doesn't say anything.
Right.
But he starts talking about this place. I can't get my bunny ears on the camera, but he starts talking about this place and
how it was designed.
Yeah, like, when they design a roller coaster, they set out to cause, like, shock and disbelief to the people that are riding it, so that they have this unique experience when they're riding the roller coaster. And if, thinking about this place is definitely a roller coaster with the ups and downs, like, it's happy one minute, Ellis is proposing, and then the next minute, the entire town is under attack. Like, like, there's never just an even day. Of course, like, why would they film that? Because we would not find it interesting. That would be a throwaway episode, right? So there's a couple of things that I'm going to talk about at the very end before we finish up, but this was one of those conversations. And she, instead of one, oh, okay, those are my notes. But he says to her that the radio worked and that the man knew.
So you're talking about Donna, right? Oh, no, you're talking about...
No. I'm finishing up the conversation. So then he leaves there and he goes up to Colony House to talk to Donna. The only one that did not visit Colony House that day was Tabitha. So other than that, all the Matthews family ended up at Colony House at one point or another. So he finds Donna and wants to talk about the radio. And as soon as that comes out of his mouth, she pulls him into the kitchen and she's like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. So she heard the voice. And, she was standing next to him when the voice came through. So she heard the voice. So it wasn't because when Jim was telling Tabitha, she was like, did anyone else hear it? Like, you're crazy, honey. But she heard the voice. She admits to him that she heard the voice. And
she says something really interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that just because you heard the voice and said to go, not to go get your wife while the whole place is coming to hell and I got injured people, glass everywhere, who's to say that that's a good voice?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know if it's good or bad. And do we want to find out? No, we don't want to poke the bear.
Yeah, because when you're on a sinking boat, to you, any voice sounds good. Until the bad guys show up and,
right.
It's all over. Like, you are not going to be rescued. So, she says, this is not a good sign. We don't know if these people, if anyone wants to help us or if that voice wanted to help us. What will they do when they know that we know that they know, right? And it might not even be a person because these monsters walk and talk just like us and they look just like us until they rip your face off.
Right.
So she's basically like, and he's looking at her like stupefied. And the thing about it is like, Jim has just gone through some trauma. So maybe all his marbles aren't swirling like they normally do. But
well, he's not thinking straight because everybody is on this little journey of their own. And he's thinking, okay, I might have a new piece of information.
Right.
And she's looking at it from a fresh set of eyes.
Or a different set of eyes.
Well, I'm just saying a fresh set of eyes of the same material. Yeah, different set of eyes. And this is why it would be great if everybody just put all their cards out and you could figure out what was going on. But I think I think the monsters are creating, or the creatures are creating it that you don't want to say anything to anybody.
Well, you don't know, like anything could be a spy, to either, like if Jim is right and someone is just doing this to them so that they can gauge their reactions, then, you don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy,
right?
Who's doing that to provoke you into doing something, right? So she's saying, I'm not saying ignore it, but let's not talk about it.
Let's investigate it on the down low.
Yeah. And it takes him a minute for him to process that, but he's like, yep, you're right. So, all right. So that page is done, and I'm on my last page of notes. So we already talked about Jade going into the house and discovering Julie and Ethan there and not being very happy about it because he was looking forward to just being, Ken and Lou and him. So Jade goes into the bar where Batka is because he's looking to get some peace and quiet. And Batka sees this as an opportunity to unburden herself. So she is sitting there like, I was responsible for these people. I didn't listen to Elgin when he said turn around. I don't know how she would have turned that bus around anyway, because it was like this.
Well, they were already in it, and that was the thing that Jade had said. Is like, did he
was it before or after?
So you were fucked either way.
Yeah, like you saw the tree that was done, but my whole thing is, even if she had tried to, how is she going to turn that bus around on that road?
Right.
There was no way to turn it around. So finally, he's like, blah, 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 blah. Let me get you a tissue. If you're going to have a pity party, let's have something for you to really cry in, So they laugh over, because like he has this, line that is kind of funny that slams people riding a bus.
Oh, it's like, bad, but it's great.
Yeah, like how good could their lives have been anyway if they were riding a bus?
Right.
I don't know.
And then
A
she,
bus,
then she,
a
and then
bus is
she,
just a plane that's riding along the street, right?
right. And then she starts to go into her backstory. She had just
Yeah,
finished college. She wanted to get some extra money, picking up extra shifts. And she starts laughing, and you think she's laughing about being on the bus, but she's just laughing about her situation.
yeah,
And he talks about how he had just sold his company. So maybe that is something, it's that change of life that they're in from for. We don't know yet, but
yeah.
it's worth mentioning.
It
And
was interesting that they had both just achieved a major goal that they were striving for.
right.
Like I graduated from college at 35. Like I never thought, I always wanted to go, but I just didn't know how I'd get there. And that was one of the most major things that I've done in my life.
Right.
And so I totally got that. And she was just like, I finished college and, I don't know. I wish we knew what else she did, but it sounded like she was driving part-time to earn some extra money to treat herself for having finished college. But the question is this what they deserve? Did they deserve?
And that's the thing. And then they start drinking the potato vodka, and he's like, it doesn't get any better. You just have to keep drinking.
Yeah, exactly. So
the only thing that we have left is
we
Donna.
have two things left.
Okay.
One of them is Kenny's conversation with his mom.
Okay.
And Kenny's conversation with Sara. But I mean, I think we've really
we've really talked about it. I mean,
but the mom is worried that he's working too hard because Boyd works too hard.
Right.
So there's that. And he says something that on its face is something that a parent would be proud of. I just want the other person to be happy. That's what I want. And, that's nice. Now on to Donna.
So basically, Randall is being like Francis from Stripes, don't touch my stuff or I'll kill you. And he's just lying on his.
Not a big surprise.
Right. And Donna is in the kitchen with the big hole. And Fatima comes over and it's like, well, maybe we should like kind of loosen, tighten up the rules. And she's like,
tighten or
be loose about.
Okay.
I'm saying tighten. She says loosen the rules on the community stuff.
Sharing, yeah.
And she's like, no, this guy is not going to get his own wing and be happy because the rule, we're not bending the rules. So,
and the thing is, like, if he had come in and had been gracious the entire time,
right?
Fatima would have had Donna's ear. I mean, Donna would have had whatever. Donna would have been more amenable to it. But where this guy is coming in and he's not a bull in a china shop, he is bulldozing that place. Like, I'm here and stay away from me.
And, help me, this isn't real, whatever else. So she gets her axe out again and they have a little conversation.
Which I loved.
And she puts an axe through the wall and says, come with me. And at that point, they're walking down to the town and they see the bus being parked. And this is really a kind of a cute little scene between her and Bacta. It was like a little respect. I wanted to get this away from the people eating every day. And she's like, that's a good idea. I mean? So they're building trust. They're building
a rapport. They're getting on the same page.
You got two alpha males, or two alpha females.
Yes.
In the room. So, and then the great scene. So
this was amazing.
So she basically tells him, okay, you want to be left alone? You get all your stuff. You get to live right here. Oh, here's the talisman from the Matthews house. This is how it works. If it falls, if you could have 100 of them. If they get in here, you're screwed. you got a ringside seat for everything. And you got all these windows. So see you later. And then he thinks, oh, I'm going to be tough. Are you done, waving your dick around? And she's like, no, you don't get this. This is real. And you're going to find out front row tonight. And I don't think you're going to make it. So prove me wrong.
I just loved this. It was, you know what? This was the perfect Donna. The scene was so beautifully played. And, the whole time I was watching, the two of them go bouncing off of each other from the house all the way up to the bus. Like, even every interaction that they had after the conversation we had with Liz the other day, and she's just like, we're just like right there working it together.
You know how to fight. They know how to fight with each other. That's for sure.
They know how to fight with each other. And I'm like, that scene was so amazing. Amazing. I loved it. I loved the whole thing and can't wait to see his first night.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. Hopefully they do something. I can't wait to see the next episode because I'm going to watch it right after this.
Yeah. This is what it was. This was one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned. So everyone's out at the bus and they're picking through everything. And Kenny says to his mom, hey, you need to get out there and manage this. So she goes out there, and then Randall comes by and starts screaming about all the vultures. And Mrs. Lou yells at him.
Oh, yeah. No, she yells at him in Chinese.
Yeah.
She don't care.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm like,
I can't wait for him to start living at the Lou's house with Jade.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. This Kenny is running afoul of all the strong women in town. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, it's just, yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm loving it.
Do you have any other notes that are related to this episode?
Yes.
And only this episode. I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, you are. All right. So I just want to say, like, I've been thinking about it here and there, but when Sara said Ethan was right, we made this place angry, and I started thinking about the storm, right? And it triggered something in me. And I was thinking, it just reminded me, it sent me right back to the Truman Show.
Okay.
And when he tries to sail away and the powers that be create this, very violent storm
and everything else. Yeah.
Right. So he can't sail away. And then Jim on the radio, and then the voice comes from nowhere, right? And knows Jim's name, and he knows what Tabitha's doing, right? And then Jim says, they want to know what our reactions are. That's what this place is all about. Someone's watching what we're doing. People can see them. Even Donna is thinking someone could be watching, right? So Truman goes to sail away. The storm comes up. Truman tries to drive away. The road goes in a circle, just like what they experience. Like, once they hit a certain point, they cannot get away from this town. Now, the difference is with the Truman Show, the only person that's not an actor is Truman.
Correct.
Right? Whereas this show, we have a ton of people that are not actors, but we don't know exactly who could be an actor.
True.
And I think I'm going to have to watch episode 5 again, but I think I had a profound thought about Elgin and the Truman Show, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's episode 5, so.
Yeah, no, but I didn't write it down because I was just watching my first time through, so I don't write anything down at that point. But this episode in particular was just screaming, because like when Jim is talking about like talking to Tabitha, I just got that strong sense. Like, it was 2 times in this episode that I just got this strong sense of Truman Show.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I mean, we've got a couple of theories going on, and we've got the common theory, and we also have that Truman Show type, they're in a bubble type of theory.
And I found the Mrs. Lou thing. And this is Nicole Kelly, and it's from the From page. And she says, laying here tonight, going through theory after theory. I thought of one that made me chuckle, and then thought it would be epic. They've all been drinking Mrs. Lou's tea. She's been drugging anyone and everyone that comes into the diner. Mr. Lou didn't have dementia. He was just her first victim. Sweet Mrs. Lou was the villain in plain sight this whole time.
Keep that in the back of your mind, folks, because that's the key to this whole thing.
I took a screenshot. I took a screenshot of that, and I'm leaving it up on my phone. So, those are all my thoughts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that said, I didn't see any feedback, and folks, if you left feedback this week, we'll get to it next week or resend it. I don't know what happened. We had a lot of interviews, and the mailbox was either empty or full, and please forgive me for that.
I don't recall seeing anything in the mailbox because I was checking a lot. But honestly, gosh, we did do a lot of interviews this week, and we have a super big one coming up this week that we are very excited about. We're not telling you.
Right.
But you, throughout this season and beyond, you're going to, we're doing like 3 interviews, it feels like, every week that just pop up,
Right.
So you are going to be seeing that throughout. It's hard to keep them from you.
Oh, absolutely. And we're trying to make this as interactive as possible. I know I've been pretty active on the YouTube channel, and we've been getting a lot of
oh my gosh, the comments are off the hook. People,
right. I mean, and just the theories and everything else.
Yeah, the theories, the thoughts, the compliments, like being so gracious to the actors, and I just love it. I love all this interaction.
So I just wanted to, before we kind of wrap things up and do the whole end of closing, we're doing a couple of things that if you want to get be part of the podcast, you can be. The first thing that we're doing, when you go onto the show notes, there is a supporter button there, and all that's doing is if you become a supporter, we'll give you a shout out, as well as it's helping us keep this thing going, because there are some costs that are incurred. I know you're still waiting for your check from podcasting, right? Ha ha ha. And we'll I've sent you one. I just added another 0 on it. The only problem is the decimal point was in the front. That being said, folks, if you, I know times are tough, but if you can, that would be great. And if you can't, I totally understand. Either way, it would help us out. That one of the other things that we're doing, and this is kind of Lizzie's project, is we're going to be creating an Etsy store. It's actually going to, by the time you guys hear this, if you check back on Monday, we'll have it all set up in the show notes and everything else. We're going to be selling some merch. Some of it is stuff that we're creating, that Lizzie's creating, and others of it is going to be stuff that we're going to be getting, like shirts and mugs and whatever else you want. It'll all be accessible through that third-party printer. But I wanted you to tell the listeners about your little project and what we're going to be doing.
All right. So at the moment, I have 2 cuff-type bracelets and 2 different things. One of them, and I have to remember where the stupid camera is. Okay. So one of them is looks like this, and it says it's got "from" stamped into the front of it, and then what it's got on the inside of the cuff. Gosh,
You can see it. No, you can see it. Just keep turning.
Really?
Keep go the other way. There you go. Now stop. The perfect stop.
So this one says Bozeman, Montana, which is where Donna came from. So inside, what it will have is locations where the characters came from. However, if you want your own particular one in there, we can do that, or I can do that. So these are handmade. I, bend them, stain them, stamp them, the whole thing. And I like them to look a little rough. All right, so there's this one with "from," and then we have "fromily," because you need your fromily bracelet, right?
Absolutely.
So hashtag fromily. And then again on the inside, let's see, you could have, I can't give the right directions to my
arm. Fine. It's fine.
But anyways, this one says Donna.
Good.
So you can get a character name, or you can put your own name in there, or whoever else's name.
You want to put town, you want to put colony, whatever the heck you want to put in there.
No. Well, it's limited to, fromily is for someone's name. So character name or your name, but it's limited to 13 characters. From is a location. So where are you from? Where did one of the characters come from? Whatever. So that's what we have. They're $16. It includes shipping. Right now, it's only to the US, and you can find that on the Etsy page when Alex gives you the info.
Yeah, no, it'll be posted on the show notes, and then we'll put it on the YouTube as well as the show notes page, and then we're also going to be doing some shirts, a couple of different taglines. And hopefully you guys will really get around it and have some fun with it. And, we're going to probably be doing another poster contest. So we might be using that kind of stuff to do that possibly. And a lot of things are up in the air in terms of different types of what the sayings and stuff are going to be. But the fact is, people have been really thirsting for this stuff. I know MGM Plus just started sending out some new talismans with like little things in a little bag, which is kind of neat. And hopefully we can get some so we can do some giveaways as well. That's pretty much our show.
Oh, you know what I wanted to say, for those of you that are Walking Dead people and have gone to the conventions, probably know Scott Spillman. And I turned him on to the show, and he is going to be creating some original art.
Awesome.
So Merch is coming.
Yeah, and I mean, there's going to be some different merch. So, and hopefully we'll get those characters, or I should say those actors, to start doing cons down the road in the next couple of months, this year or next.
Yeah.
Because that would be great, because I think people are really starting to embrace the show and starting to appreciate what we've been appreciating for a while. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and that's our show. If you want to contact us, you can contact us through the podcast through podcastica.com. While you're there, you can also check out some of the other shows. We're doing Yellow Jackets. I'm doing the Yellow Jackets after show. It's always 10:10 on Sunday. They are doing Mrs. Maisel, which is awesome TV. If you are anybody that likes comedy in any way, shape, or form. I know Sweet Tooth is on Strange Indeed. Paik and Rima are doing that. And if I forgot one of the shows, I'm sorry, because I just know that there's a ton of stuff going on. I know a couple of the women. I think it's Wendy and possibly Rima. I forgot. They're doing The Power. They did a couple of episodes of The Power. I know that's really been taking off. And yeah, that's it. So go out there and get some streaming going on. Next week we're going to be covering season 2, episode 5, episode 205, Lullaby. I bet we're going to see that ballet dancer again. It sounds like possibly. In the trailer, they had that scene where Boyd moves the curtain. Maybe we'll see that. I don't know. Could be something else. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm not saying because I've already seen it.
Okay, so you can't say a word.
I'm not going to ruin it.
All right. Well, that said, can't wait to see you guys next week. And we'll just have our favorite Jim Matthews take us out.
Get you home. Let's go. Come on, get in your house. Let's go. Come on.